Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Boot Nerds podcast. What's going on, Jay?
Well, it's good, guys. Happy to be back yet again. So what do you have for us today, Josh?
There's a lot to talk about today. I want to talk about a couple of boot spotting things today. We're going to do the usual Q&A as well. But I think you have something that you'd like to talk about to start off.
Definitely. I brought this. This is basically the new Neymar boots, the new Vapor 12s. They're called Silencio, basically meaning silence in English. I don't know if I said that right in Portuguese, but that's roundabouts what they're called. And the beautiful thing is they're out today, so if you're seeing them right now and you're thinking, geez, I gotta own these, as you can see right down below us, we actually have them in Unisport store, so if you want them, you can go there via the link in the description and cop yourself a pair. But I think it's also appropriate we talk about the story here, Josh, because it's obviously called Silencio. There's a couple of shh on the graphic itself. But tell me real quick, looking at this, what do you reckon that the story behind this boot is?
My assumption on that would just be Neymar trying to silence the haters. That would be my assumption on that design.
See, that's what I thought too. And then I figured, okay, it can be that. It can also be a reference to the man actually having a shh tattooed on his index finger in case he, wants to silence everyone watching, silence the crowd after scoring a killer goal. But it's actually none of those. The story behind this is, that the whole silence part is Neymar himself going silent, going into himself, finding inner peace to focus on what he should do as a footballer and get this as a man.
It's very deep.
It's very deep, surprisingly deep. Maybe I'm just not sophisticated and grown up enough to really think that far ahead. I would have liked the shh angle to be silencing the haters, because I think that also kind of fits the narrative of Neymar, just doing his thing, not caring about anyone. But I guess the other thing works too.
It may have been that at one point, but let's not go there.
I think it's a little bit dangerous to be. Who knows? I think no matter what they did with the story, it makes sense, and I think it's something that's good to pass on. It's the right thing to pass on. Focus on yourself. Go inside. Focus on your game. Find your energy in yourself, and don't worry about anyone else on the outside. But it had just been a little more fun, right? If they'd made it about silencing the haters. But
do you like the way they look?
Honestly, I love the way they look.
It reminds me a lot of was it his first signature, the Usari Allegria Hypervenoms, the Phantom 2s?
No, they were his
no, that
third.
was definitely not his first.
Yeah.
It was the first of the Phantom 2.
The first of the Phantom 2, yeah. I actually have them sitting right next to me. If you wanna, should I go get them?
If you want to, yeah, go for it.
Talk people through what you think about the Neymar boots then.
You know what? I've not seen them in person yet, but I'm curious to see them. I like the fact that they have gone with the swoosh on the side. That's something that a lot of people have been complaining about with the Mercurials in general. But as a whole, black, white, and red is never a colorway combo that I think looks bad. But that's just an opinion. I'm actually curious to hear what you guys think of the look of these down below in the comments of this video.
So what did I miss?
Pretty much nothing.
I just brought him here. What were they called? Sonho Dourado, the Hypervenom ones that he wore for less than 90 minutes during the World Cup in 2014 before he got injured. Zuniga came with his knee into his back, and it was bye-bye Neymar, bye-bye Brazil.
That was pretty nasty foul.
Yeah, I know. We also had this before the Usa di Allegria, the Liquid Diamonds. But I see the resemblance between this and the new one,
That's what I immediately thought when I saw them.
I think you're right. I actually think you're right. And I think it's it must be something Neymar has asked for himself. This white, grayish with the red accents. I think that looks pretty good. Obviously, I'm a sucker for the side swoosh. I love me.
That's what I
some
was just
side swoosh.
talking about. The side swoosh looks way better. For sure.
And I think it's going to pop nicely on the PSG kit. You know, the PSG kit is so clean, especially if you go with the Jordan stuff, right? And you take the all white Jordan away kit for the Champions League. Beautiful. And then you slap these on that has a bit of, you know, there's so much going on them. And you have the red Nikes, which is, it's going to pop so nicely. But I guess a nice signature boot. The problem is Neymar's not really going to wear them right now, is he?
Yeah, when is he due back? I was just going to ask that.
Couple of weeks, I think. I don't think he's going to be fit to face United again.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, it's a solid signature boot. I think Nike always tends to do a pretty good job with having some kind of a cool pattern, some kind of an interesting backstory. It's never just random.
No, that's the thing. And I appreciate that. And I also mentioned in the video I did for Unisport on the piece that, you know, it always seems to revolve around something that's very personal and dear to Neymar himself. And I think that's really, it's a neat storytelling thing that just adds the cherry on top of the boot looking nice itself. And you also got to have that when it's 10 euros more than a normal Vapor.
Nike's always got to get that extra cash.
And you basically pay that for the privilege of having Neymar's name on the back. With that said, I think it's a good looking boot, and I would probably pay the 10 extra euros to rock it. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, I don't think the extra 10 euros is a big deal. But hey, it's everyone. The Neymar thing seems to be pretty controversial at the moment, so we'll see. I'm curious to see what people's opinions are.
Yeah, but I mean, I think most people out there like Neymar when he's on song, but just don't really like all the diving and the theatrics, right? We talked about this in the other podcast, so maybe we shouldn't dive too much into that today. But I think I like Neymar, but I just think if he could cut out all the theatrics, he would be better off. He would do himself a favor, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But this is not the only new thing from Nike, because they also released the Luna Gato 2 remakes, which is basically a 1-to-1 remake of the OG Luna Gato, and I am so excited for this. This was basically probably my favorite, small-sided football shoe that's ever been made. Did you ever try
with you on that. I have a blue. I have the blue pair was the launch color, the blue with the Volt.
Yeah, I have it right behind me actually.
Yeah, mine. I have them in the other room, but man, they're destroyed. It's the one indoor that I just wore so much. I was surprised that they brought it back, to be honest, because it wasn't a new thing that long ago. How old is that? What was the original release?
I think it came out in 13, so 6 years ago.
Was it that long ago? Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, came out when they launched the FC 24/7 collection with the Elastico and the, what was it called? The Bomber something.
Oh God, it was still those days. Wow. Yeah,
it was pretty good. I mean, I remember I went to the launch event in Berlin with the Boateng brothers. Pretty nice, and we saw their pitch where they played as kids. And Jolt and I were DJing and stuff. It was pretty stupid, but also quite fun. But this shoe is it's just special, you know. Every time I've gone to play small sided, I've basically gone with this because it's comfortable. They use goat leather in this one because it's comfortable. It's also really strong. So it's good for durability playing on those small pitches. So yeah, happy times.
Yeah, I really like them. I never thought it was the best looking boot, to be fair, but in terms of feel, I really like it.
I actually think it looks really stylish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I was never
maybe
a huge
not
fan.
in. This is the boat size that Philip usually wears, so a size US 10. But I mean, it doesn't look as stylish, but I think it has a nice elegant silhouette to it. You can see this on the feet of some of these old school players that just has a lot of technique. This is basically, to me, the Copa Mundial of small sided shoes.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the Ronaldinho's second signature.
Yes.
What was it? The Ronaldinho
Doi.
Yeah. Doi. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
Doi,
speak Spanish.
Yeah. Same. But that was a beautiful one. One that they're trying to bring back as well as an indoor small sided shoe, by the way. Also quite good looking, if I may.
Yeah, just nowhere near the quality of what that
absolutely
boot
not.
used to be. Yeah.
But the funny thing was with the Lunagatos here that we actually saw goat leather used and that it actually worked really well, I think.
Yeah, that was a weird choice by Nike at the time. It's really soft. It's some of the nicest leather you're gonna find. Period. I really don't think there's too much you can criticize about it. But it's weird that they've only ever done it on that one boot.
Yeah, but there must be a reason for that.
I remember, maybe you would know a little bit more about this, but when the Nike Premier first came out, a lot of the retailers who because what a lot of people don't realize is this stuff's like pre-planned. So the retailers sometimes get tech specs that are really early and out of date from when the product finally comes out. And a lot of retailers were listing the Premier as goat leather, even though it wasn't.
So did we, yeah. And we were told and were very impressed actually, you know, with reference to the Lunagato that, hey, this is it felt so soft. And I was like, how can this goat leather be so soft and feel like kangaroo leather? Turns out it was because it was kangaroo leather. But, you know, I should probably have known better back then. But it was something that would have been interesting to see as well on the Premier. Also, maybe to save cost. I don't know how expensive goat leather is compared to K leather? But
I'd assume it's probably more expensive.
Gold leather?
I think so. It would have to be. Or maybe there's just such a reputation behind kangaroo leather that it would be too much of a gamble. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's probably the reason. Also, you know, they're used to working with kangaroo leather now. So maybe the process around actually getting a goat leather to work functionally in a football boot would be different. But again, this is why you and I are not developers, but just, you know, we just review stuff.
Yeah. All right. Want to move on to a couple of boot spotting things that I figured we'd talk about? So first thing I think we should discuss is Benzema, who's been playing in the F50 adizero, the 2014 model since, it's been like a month, 2 months now? It's been a little while.
I think so, yeah. Look,
and it's funny because he trains in the X, but then he plays in the F50.
This guy is an absolute baller, Benzema. He doesn't give two beeps about anything. Like, he has such a good mentality. And I like the fact, you know, he's just doing his thing. And apparently he likes the 2014 adizero so much that he's just going to stay with it. And I understand. It's a lovely boot. I still wear it sometimes. I
think that's the best speed boot Adidas has ever put out.
I would tend to agree with you, yeah. It had basically everything. It didn't weigh that much either. 156, I think.
Yeah, it was light. You're like, in a 9 US, you were right around 6 ounces or so, which is lighter than anything available now, pretty much.
I don't do ounces, so I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds light.
But I just thought it was interesting. And I made a video back when he first started doing this, because there was a week where he wore the F50s. Obviously, Cruz wore his, whatever he wears, his 11 Pro
Cruz,
custom things. And then Isco in the same week ended up wearing his Vapor 9s.
Yeah.
It was, and they had like all these players on Madrid. Oh, and Ramos wore Legend 4s or 5s?
Legend 4. Yeah, Legend 4s. The white gold ones?
It was something like that, but it was all in the same match. You had like half the team wearing these old boots, and I can only imagine that this has to do. And they were not in the greatest form at that point in the season. No. But I have to imagine that has something to do with Toni Kroos.
You think? By the way, it's Kroos, not Cruz.
I've given up on this guy's name. It's a well-known fact on the internet that I just can't say this guy's name properly. So we're just going to have to live with it at this point.
It had to do with Toni Kroos, yeah. I mean, you know, it's not a bad point that, you know, he's sticking to his old guns, and whenever things don't work out, you tend to go back to what works. Maybe that's what happened in Real Madrid as well.
I just think it's cool because obviously Benzema is an Adidas endorsed athlete, right? He's being paid to wear the brand. That's not a secret. And I think it's kind of cool as a company that Adidas doesn't seem to care that much that these players go back and wear the older boots. I'm not sure what their opinion is. I'm sure they do, but clearly they're not stepping in to stop this. Or maybe contractually they can't. I'm not sure. But I just think it's a very interesting phenomenon.
I don't really know anything about this, but I would probably assume that whoever is managing Benzema would be kind of annoyed that he's wearing old colorways, and someone from higher up will tell whoever's managing Benzema, yo, sort this out. So I can imagine there's been, talks, but with the pros, you can't just go in and say, look, wear this, because if they don't like it, they're not going to wear it. And what can you do? I mean, he wears Adi still. So unless you pull a Rafinha and actually start wearing a different brand, then, I think it's really about, pleasing them to the point where we can, maybe we can get them into the next colorway or the next generation, something like that. But I really don't know.
I don't know how closely you follow basketball, Jay, but in the NBA, you have your like signature athletes, the LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, these guys who have their own sneaker that they always wear in whatever random colorway it might be. But then you have the other players in the league that they have endorsement deals, but they're just competing to wear the craziest sneaker that you never see. And it's like 15 years old, and it's like a cool thing in the league to wear these older sneakers. I think it would be really cool for footballers to try to do the same thing, and for the brands to more or less embrace that, because I feel like they really do in the basketball world. The retroing these shoes is a thing, and it's kind of like we just saw Nike do a little bit of it with the Lunar Gato. So I'm wondering if maybe there is going to be a trend of doing remakes of these older boots and have the pros wear them. I think that'd be cool.
Maybe, but isn't it also a thing with basketball that, it's also a lifestyle thing where old models are still circulating and are still being sold on eBay and to a bigger extent bigger extent than in football. I mean, yes, there's still a market for old school football boots, but isn't it, the retro stuff, isn't it more hype in basketball than it is in football? I don't know.
Yes and no. Yeah, you're right. There's definitely more of a lifestyle aspect to basketball shoes, right? And obviously a much bigger resale market when you're talking about sneakers. And the brands, to be fair, the brands don't like the whole resale market thing. It doesn't. No. It helps them in terms of maintaining interest on products that are old, but they don't make any money when you go buy your shoes in the resale market from some random person.
Yeah.
So they obviously don't want that. But I think it'd be cool. Obviously, there is seemingly a growing interest amongst a lot of pro players to go back and wear some of their favorites. We saw Rooney a little while ago.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
wore the Laser 2s for a couple matches, which I thought was cool as well. I was excited. I thought they were going to do a remake of that, but didn't happen.
Nah. I think you're the only one in the world who wants that, Josh.
Honestly. Might be. And then, speaking of Real Madrid players, Isco was spotted training in the Nemeziz 18 Plus in the Archaic Pack colorway.
That's an interesting move, I would say.
Is it a good move, though?
I've always associated Isco with being a Mercurial player, probably because he's worn Mercurial for most of his life, right? I don't know. I mean, I think it's nice for Isco to kind of step into, become more of his own. And, he's going to go into the Nemeziz. This is, he can really further enhance his image a little bit, because he has been maybe standing in the shadow of Ronaldo at Real Madrid. He probably wouldn't like me saying that, but, it's probably good to really make a stand and say goodbye to the old. This is, now is the time for Isco. Go into a new silo, new fresh start, and he can also help really define the face, define the silo, because God knows the silo needs that. Someone like Isco, like Firmino, like Messi, to come in and actually be a big name endorsing the boot.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if Adidas intends on maintaining this Nemeziz line, they need to have a few more big names wearing the boots to try and draw some attention.
Yeah. But
at the same time, I almost feel like Isco would be the guy that, maybe not amongst the general public, but amongst boot enthusiasts, it could be a little bit of a backfire in terms of marketing if he starts wearing the Nemeziz and then all of a sudden switches into something else, because he does have a tendency of doing that even with Nike boots.
True, yeah. He also wore the Hypervenom at some point, right?
Yeah, he did. When the Phantom 1 came out, he was one of the main guys they put on Hypervenom.
Yeah.
But
I don't blame him for switching out of the 2s because they were rubbish, but I mean, I think you're right in the sense that if everyone leaves the Nemeziz at some point, it could backfire, but then, they would have to kill it off. I think, if they believe in Nemeziz, Adi, I think getting someone like Isco in to endorse the line and hopefully come up with something killer for the next generation that it needs, I think it could actually work out. I would probably have, patted myself on the shoulder if I was at Adi managing the players, getting Isco in to the Nemeziz.
Yeah, that's a significant signing to the brand, I would say.
It's a statement, right?
Yeah. I mean, going from Nike, Adidas, or Adidas to Nike is always going to be a big deal. People are going to notice that.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
All right, I got another thing. I saw the video you guys did. It was Jolter interviewing Gareth Bale.
Uh-huh.
And he asked Bale what his ideal football boot would be. And I thought his answer was really cool. He actually gave us, he didn't just say the typical, when you ask a professional player about his boots, oh, they're light and they're comfortable.
Uh-huh.
He didn't say that. He said he likes a boot that fits perfectly with no extra space. And he likes a boot that has an upper that has no stretch to it, which, in other words, he likes something very responsive.
Very, very stiff. I mean, he's been wearing these modded X's ever since they switched from the adizeros. And, just looking at them, they look like, wow, they look so thick and so stiff. But I guess if you...
By the way, just not to cut you off, but that's another Real Madrid player that's clearly very finicky about his boots. Like this team, something's happening there.
Ronaldo wearing his cut off Superfly 4s, all that stuff. These guys, they get whatever they want.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. But I thought it was funny how he basically described the opposite of laceless boots.
Yes. Which is probably why he's not in the laceless X. He wouldn't like that one bit.
No, and that's I know people get on me. I don't know if you ever get any comments, but when you say that objectively a laceless boot does not secure your foot in place as well as something with laces, that's not an opinion. That is a straight up fact. And I think the way Bale explained not liking any stretch in the upper of his boots is exactly the layman's term explanation of that. You can't tell me that a Predator 19 plus with the stretchy material across the top of the foot is going to maintain as much tension as the 19.1 with the laces tied tight. It's just not the same thing.
But that makes the most sense in the world, because how can a stretchy material, maintain the same amount of tension as something that's fixated more, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, yeah. But you're right. It's a good way of putting it. So people who maybe doesn't speak as much boot as we do, also get what we mean.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting point.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool answer that you don't really see that much of from a lot of pro players. They usually keep things pretty generic, but
they like it comfortable. They like a good fit and a good touch. That's it.
Yeah. Speaking of comfort, I don't know if you saw this on Instagram yesterday. I ended up posting it, but Ederson, Manchester City goalkeeper, giant hole cut out in the back of his Phantom. Oh, you definitely saw it because you commented on my post. Giant hole in the back of his Phantom Visions.
What is the thing with these guys just cutting big chunky holes in their boots? I mean,
it's becoming very popular.
I know. It's like, but he, being Brazilian, he must have spoken to Coutinho, who said, "Yo, I have this thing," which you explained very well in your video, by the way, on the topic why it happened and this medical reason for why he actually had probably this.
I mean, it's a theory. It's not a. For sure, it could have just been blisters. But
I would have bought it. So maybe he spoke to Ederson. Maybe Ederson also had a blister, and he said, "Yo, cut a big fat hole in it, and once the blister is gone, you just get a pair of new ones because you're balling."
It makes all the sense in the world. Like I had plenty of blisters growing up. We talked about this in the last episode with all the Mercurial Vapors that I was into and was desperate to wear, but never did it cross my mind. Hey, if I just cut the entire heel out, this wouldn't be an issue. Not that I would do that, even if I knew that information. But I think it's funny how that's the route that a lot of pros are going now. And you know what? If you didn't have to pay for your boots and it didn't really matter,
I'd probably do it too.
Yeah.
But everyone listening out there, if you don't have an unlimited access to boots, don't do it. Obviously. Don't do it because you've seen Ederson and Hummels and Coutinho do it and think it looks nice, because you actually heard the performance of your boots and the durability, and the warranty is going to go. So if your boots fall apart, well, tough luck.
Can we just talk about that for a second? Because when I made that video talking about Coutinho, I ended up having the pair of Mercurial, were they academies at that time? Whatever the takedown model was, I can't even remember. The Victory 5.
Yeah,
it would have been a Victory
that you
5
took to
or
the
Victory
concrete.
6. Yeah, they were already destroyed, right? So I'm like, let me just cut the heel out like Coutinho did for the sake of experimentation. How hard is this to actually do? And I could have used an X-Acto knife or perhaps a knife that would have made more sense, but I decided, let me use a giant kitchen knife because it'd be more entertaining. Well, it turns out it was a little bit dangerous. And honestly, I was surprised at how difficult it was to actually cut through the heel. There's like 18 layers of material.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy to do. You need like some really sharp knives to do that easily. I don't know. That's all I wanted to add. Is just it's actually much harder to cut a square out of the heel of the boot than you might think.
Don't do it. But I mean, they probably have kitmen who have all these wicked tools who can do, stud replacements and all that stuff. You can just like heat up a knife and just make some holes.
Yeah, actually, that would make sense. Heating a knife would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, probably would. But yeah, that's how it goes. But Josh, before we spend too much time just talking about random stuff, which is the beauty of the podcast, by the way, we just talk about whatever comes to mind. But to not leave people hanging who had actually asked some questions, should we jump straight into them?
Yeah, let's do that. And if you have any questions that you'd like answered in the next podcast, leave them down below in the comment section. That'd be great. Thanks.
Exactly. Let me start with the first one here from Filippo Calcio. Filippo, how about ACC as the upper, like only ACC? And I appreciate the question. I think it's a good question. Maybe it's like a bit tongue-in-cheek. But there's no such thing as an ACC material. You probably want to elaborate, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of comments where people buy X Flyknit boot from Nike, and then the Nike skin polyurethane top layer starts peeling off over time, which can happen. And a lot of people seem to think that is the ACC. But again, ACC it's not a physical anything as far as we're aware. We don't really know what ACC is, to be honest.
We don't know what it is. What we're told is that... Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
Okay, what we're told is that ACC is this treatment of the material that they can apparently do on both knit and leather, because it's also on the Jempo. We don't know what the treatment is, but it's some sort of waterproofing treatment that will make, the boots absorb less water and give you better grip in the wet. But we have absolutely no clue how it technically works. So it can be anything.
Yeah, when I was down there visiting you guys, we made a video on it. I'm not sure if it's on my channel or your channel. I can't remember.
I think it's on your channel, yeah.
Is it on my channel? But yeah, it's one of those things where if Nike doesn't physically write the letters ACC on the upper somewhere, there's really no way to know if the boot has ACC or not.
And that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It was like with the new Phantom Venom takedowns, they didn't write ACC on, I think it was the Pro. And did they? There was one of them they didn't write ACC on, and I just assumed, there's no ACC. If they usually they just slap it on with big fat letters if there's ACC on it. If they don't, how are we supposed to know?
You don't. We're gonna have to. That's what we should invent. We should make ACC test strips. So you run the strip along the upper, and if it turns a color, then it's ACC.
I like it. Let's do it.
we could make so much money on that.
Oh, we could. Just everyone, I'll talk to Unisport about this. Maybe we should just have ACC test strips. but basically, coming back to the question, it's as far as I know, it would be pretty much impossible to make an upper out of ACC because it's a treatment of a material, as far as I'm aware. So you can't really use a treatment of a material to make an upper material in itself, if it makes sense.
Oh, but in theory, if the ACC could be converted into a liquid form, you could dip your feet in said liquid and you have an ACC upper.
Man, Nike, are you listening to this? Hire this man, to quote a friend. Jumping to the next question here. Is it poor etiquette to order and return multiple pairs of boots from online retailers just for the sake of trying them out? I don't have access to proper football boot shops. So what he's basically saying is that he wants to buy multiple pairs and then return whichever pairs doesn't fit him, I guess. Is it poor etiquette? I mean, as a store, speaking from someone who works for a store, obviously it creates a bit more of a hassle for said store. But I don't think it's bad etiquette. It's just the smart way to do things. You know, because obviously when you buy online, you don't have it's not as easy to go down and find the right size. So I think in order for you to, the store will only be happy if you actually decide to purchase your boots from them and then maybe return one, but they still ending selling you a pair. Instead of you not even considering buying from an online store because you can't try them out. I think it's a clever way to do.
Yeah, I think if you're going to buy anything online and the plan is to buy multiple things, see and feel what they're like in person, and then send back the ones you don't want, obviously be familiar with the return policy of the site you're ordering from, because that plan might not work out given what their return policy is. But yeah, I mean, if you're spending let's say $200-$300 on boots these days, yeah, you want to make the right decision. So if it's your money, as long as it's within the rules of what the website says you can do, then do it.
Yeah, and at Unisport, we have a nice returns policy, so you can do that thing with us because we care about you. Sales pitch over.
Yeah.
Shameless plug here. Moving on to the next question here is Joaquin and Jay. When are we going to see in-game footage of you two? Are you going to respond to Messi and the football legend ASAP Ferg calling you fakers? So when are we seeing that match footage, man?
Match footage, I've talked about this a long time ago. I don't know, maybe more recently, I'm not sure. The problem with match footage is now you're recording, let's say, 50 different people, depending on who's watching. And any one of those people can say, hey, this guy who has a YouTube channel with these many followers has put me on YouTube. Let me take this video down because I can. Mm-hmm. And then that happens a couple times and you lose your channel. Yeah. So basically, the only way that you could properly do that is if you, before the match, had a stack of papers and started handing out waivers for everyone to sign off to be in your video.
Yeah.
And then at that point, now you've drawn all the attention to yourself and you're going to get fouled like Neymar every time you touch the ball.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's not my thing to do that. I kind of like to be as low profile as possible when I'm out in public.
And also, for me, that's basically the reason I like to, when I play a match, I like to focus on the match. I like to not think about YouTube or Instagram or whatever. I like to be focused on the football match because that's also an important thing in my life. Obviously, doing YouTube and letting you guys know what's going on is a big deal, but sometimes I just got to focus and I have no one who really can film me. And, I don't think you guys would be, I'm not a pro.
That's the thing. I don't know. I've seen people who have recorded their matches and put it on YouTube. And I guess it seems like a cool concept at first, but every video I've watched like that, I'm like, this is terrible to watch.
And that's what I mean. I don't do 50 step overs per game. I play it, mostly safe. My game is all about doing the right thing, making the right decisions. I make a good cross here and there. I play right wing back. So I do a lot of running, and I do a lot of, crossing and simple passing. Maybe the odd cross-field ping, but that's it. I don't really go out and do rainbow flicks and, McGeady spins and all that stuff on the pitch when I play. Because, when you play, and there's a very different distinction between playing with friends and having fun and actually playing a hardcore match to win. Because I try to keep it simple, and it's just not that exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's not. Like usually I play like left bench, so I'm not doing much of anything.
All right, next question here from what appears to be a Spanish guy. Joma, as we would say, is pronounced with an H, kind of like in home, and the O is pronounced like in horrible, so like Horma. Now we know. Horma.
That's great information.
Great information. But
Want to talk about Tony Cruz?
Tony Cruz wearing Joma boots.
Oh God!
Can you imagine the
broke
spectacle?
all the rules in one sentence.
Oh, don't get me starting on having you speaking Danish here. That would be beautiful. And
not a chance.
All right, from Jordan, two pretty good questions here. Which silo do you think is a downgrade from previous silos generations beside the Predators? Apparently, he thinks the Predators would be a downgrade. But which do you think would be a downgrade from the previous silo? It's a good question.
Are we talking just previous, let's say just the last generation?
Yeah.
So like the new model is out right now and we're only comparing it to the model
you can
before.
interpret it how you want to, basically.
Yeah. I think you could make a solid argument for the Mercurial Vapor 12.
Yes, I was going to say
I personally like the 12 Elite better than the 11. But I could see why a lot of people would prefer the 11.
You're so weird, man. I'm one of those people that would prefer the 11. I understand why people like the 12. Also, perhaps because it's a little wider. Is that also why you like it a bit more?
Yeah, it's just for me, it's way more comfortable. The way it fits.
Okay, I can see that, but I love the 11s because the shape of the boot was a little more pointy, was a little more low profile in the toe box. The material felt ever so slightly thinner, and I also really appreciated having the full outsole, just a whole one-piece tooling instead of the two pots. There's something about it that makes you feel more, it's more holistic in some way, and it was just ever so slightly more tiptoey for me, the 11s.
Oh, but with for sure. That said, it's definitely a thinner, simpler boot.
Yeah, I'm still rocking my 12s in a match, but I just probably would like to rock the 11s still over the 12s. But it's hard to say that the Vapor 12 Elite is a downgrade because it's still so flipping good.
Yeah.
What else?
I think the clearest one from Nike would be Hypervenom Phantom 1 to 2.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was brutal.
And also, like even though the Superfly 1 was bad, the Superfly 2 was even worse. So that was also pretty bad. And there was also the switch from Puma haven't really made any bad downgrades. I would say that the Future 2.1 was a worse boot than the 18.1. In my opinion, the 18.1 was slightly thinner. The textile mesh softened up a little bit faster for me, and I like the fact that it felt more nimble than the 2s did. They felt a little more wide and more like boat-like.
They were definitely they definitely widened it and upped the volume slightly on the.
The volume is a good way to put it. Yeah, bigger volume. I think for Adi.
I got a good answer. I got a great answer. When Adidas killed off the Predator, the Nitro Charge, the 11 Pro, and the F50 for Ace X and Messi. They downgraded the whole brand.
Yeah. I think the result is nice, and we've kind of talked about this. They had to a certain extent. I think we've arrived at a nice place, but definitely those were all downgrades. Messi's were all right, but they weren't exactly good, were they?
Yeah, none of them were. I don't think anyone remembers any of those 3 boots as memorable. I don't know.
I would also say, like, for me, it's a bit, they're very different boots, but the X line was also, I loved the X17 pluses. And going into the X18 pluses is, I would probably prefer the 17s just because they also had laces and they had this lovely plushness to them. With that said, I love the X18.1, so maybe it's a bit unfair to say it's a downgrade. I'm not going to say that, but, it was a change.
I'd agree with that. I think you could also make an argument for Ace 16 plus pure control to 17 plus.
In terms of comfort, yeah, I would agree with you. In terms of actual performance and lockdown, I like the 17s more. But the 16 just had this aura about them. They were so comfortable. And the fit was just second to none of the laceless boots, I would say. It had something really special to it. But it was also very loose.
Yeah, I think the appeal of that whole concept was the fact that it was a knitted sock with no laces.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they really kind of strayed away from the knitted thing on the 17 plus and then basically brought it back with the Predator.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole neoprene thing on the 17 plus probably worked better performance-wise, but it wasn't as nice and, laceless-y as it was in the 16. But
I was just, honestly, I was down on the Ace 17 generation period. I thought the 17 plus and the 17-1, there was just nothing about either of those boots that I really liked.
Really?
I felt like it was like a stiff plasticky upper.
And it was. I totally agree with that until at least I broke mine in. Whenever you broke in the primed toe box, which for me was the key thing, I loved it. It was soft as butter, and especially taking the 17.1 low, which was really good with leather.
The leather.
Oh yeah. And the colorways. Oh man, that was
yeah,
good stuff.
that was on its own thing. Yeah, but
there's
plenty of instances of boots getting worse.
Dude, the Zaro 1 to 2.
Oh yeah, wow.
How could we forget one of the worst, biggest downgrades in the history of football boots? Basically went from boot of the year to worst boot of the year in one generation.
I just thought of one too. Clutch Fit 3 to, oh wait, that's not technically, no, it still counts. Clutch Fit to Spotlight was bad.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then Spotlight to Spotlight 2. Oh my God. Wow. Under Armour's on a streak right now.
You don't think that, putting a zipper on a boot is an upgrade and innovative?
It's very innovative.
Do enlighten me. Let's get the ball. I think it was a good question. He also has a part 2. Do you think Nike, Adidas, Puma, etc. should make more throwback colorways / remakes of old models, like how Adidas makes the Predator remakes and how Nike made the Hypervenom GX? And yeah, definitely make it happen.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I like that concept in general.
Okay, so a question from 12-inch Kebab. Okay, what a name. Hi, guys. Question from James. James, you have a shit username. Please change it to James. Could you guys debate which of the following boots are better? The Vapor 12 Pro and Vapor 11 Elite? The Copa 19.1 or Copa 18.1, X18 Plus or the X17 Plus? Basically, 3 mini questions there. Be great to hear your opinions. So let's start off with the Vapor 12 Pro versus the Vapor 11s. Go.
I think objectively 11 is better, but there's not enough. The Vapor 12 Pro is not so much worse that I would say it's like a huge downgrade.
Agreed. Yeah, we kind of talked about this already. Actually, I'm pro Vapor 11, but the 12 is so much like a Vapor 11. It's just a little heavier and a little more sturdy, I would say. It feels a little thicker in every aspect, but it's a nice replacement for those people who can't let the Vapor 11 go.
Yeah, I think if you want a tighter fit, go for the Vapor 11. If you prefer something a little bit wider, go for the 12 Pro.
And the 12 Pro is so considerably cheaper than any of the Vapor 11 or Vapor 12s that it's definitely worth the money. It's one of the best, takedown boots out there, period. Mm-hmm. But with that said, if you can find a Vapor 11 at a good deal, because usually all boots are on discount, I would take a Vapor 11. Definitely.
Yeah, it's better.
18 plus or 17 plus. We kind of also talked about, I talked about that. What
Wait, which, the Copa?
No, X18 plus, sorry. X18 plus or 17 plus. Copa 17 plus.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's a long podcast, Jay. Yeah. There's going to be mistakes.
Yeah, well, let's not mention mine that I made calling the Superfly 3 in my hand a Superfly 2. I mean,
Hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Go on.
No, 17 plus for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I like the 18 plus, and I appreciate it for what it is, but I would probably also go 17 plus for the reason I explained, but also because it has laces and thus better lockdown.
Yeah, I think it's way better.
I agree. I agree. But speaking of the 18.1 against the X17 plus, I would actually have a hard time deciding because they're so different boots.
Yeah, at that point, I would probably pick an X18.1.
Yeah, same. Because it really has the adizero F50 vibe.
I really like everything about that boot.
So Copa 19.1 or 18.1?
See, that's tricky for me because I almost would say no. I think I'd prefer the 18.1.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
But you also like that a lot more than I do because I thought it was kind of a joke, the 18.1. I thought it had so much potential and they completely let us down. I would take the 19.1 because of the leather, the fusion skin, and the comfort, the slightly more plush, thick sensation you get on the ball. But that's just me. I would still, every day of the week take the 19 pluses. That is a fantastic boot, and if you can in any way get the money for that, maybe even save up and wear whatever you're wearing right now. Buy a Vapor 12 Pro instead of an Elite. Save up some money. Buy a Copa 19 Plus, and feel the explosion in your head when you put them on. They're that nice. Take my word for it.
I had no internal explosions while wearing those, but yes, they are very good and unique. But no, for me, Copa, if we're talking Copa 19.1 versus 18.1,
yeah,
I just like the 18.1 is again, it's just a very simple boot. It had the sprint frame sole plate, basically a sprint frame sole plate and stud pattern from an F50 adizero. The upper was kangaroo leather. Was it the greatest leather that you could get? Definitely not. Doesn't even compare to what you get on the current generation Copas. But the whole upper was leather for the most part, which I can appreciate. What I don't like about the 19.1 is the tongue.
Oh yeah,
burrito style tongue. I'm not a fan of that. I've never been a fan of that.
Terrible.
I'm actually surprised that Messi has a burrito style tongue on his boots.
But
like
Messi
that just seems like something that I would not want.
I agree, but if it's made to measure for him,
I guess it could work.
I mean, that would probably work because he can really make it wrap his foot more nicely than I think we can with the retail pairs. But I'm not a fan of that either. But with that said, the leather's just so much nicer on the 19.1 that it's probably what I would go for. But again, different opinions, different preferences here. What are we looking for in the boot? 18.1 was not a bad boot. It was just, it's had so much more potential. It was just a simple, no-nonsense boot for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but depends on what you want.
Yeah, but that's also good because then we're not just sitting here patting each other on the back every time and agreeing on everything. That would be super boring as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure it would be.
So yeah. But those were actually all the questions I had for today in order to keep things nice and tidy. But of course, if you have more questions or new questions or things you'd like us to discuss, go in depth with, you should leave them right down below. Josh, do you have any closing comments? Because otherwise I'm going to close it.
Audio-only versions are available on bootnerds.com.
Yep.
That's a website, by the way, if you didn't know. It's available on all the streaming platforms, so not just on the website. Mm-hmm. So SoundCloud, Apple, or iTunes, or whatever the Apple podcast thing is. I don't know what they're all called, but it's on all of those.
Yeah. It's a good listen, by the way. We might not be purring like my good man Jeff Goldblum. I mean, we can do that for a full hour. See, I can't do it, but it's still it's a good listen, and it's nice if you're doing something where you can't be on YouTube all the time.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah. Thank you so much for your support so far, guys. I mean, I don't know about you, Jay, but I did not expect this to go as well as it has gone.
Honestly, it's been extremely humbling. It's been very exciting for me to also see that there's an interest for two people talking about football boots every week for, 45 minutes to an hour. It's like, really, guys, thank you so much from, I guess, both of us. It's very special to have a community like this and hear people's thoughts, and hopefully you can also see that we're trying and we're improving sound quality, all that stuff. So we listen to you guys.
Yeah, so thanks a lot. If you could leave a like on the video, that'd be great. Neymars are available. Link down below in the description. Go ahead and check them out. Shh.
And exactly, if you want to watch more of Josh's stuff, as per usual, you can click on the screen right over there. If you want to watch what I'm up to at Unisport, you can click right over there on the green bubble. And finally, don't forget to go subscribe to the Boot Nerds podcast so you get a little ding, or a notification at least, every time a new video drops. And with that said, Josh, I think we're signing off, right?
Later.
Cheerio.
See ya.